Today's video, we're gonna talk about I switched to exact match keywords and I get no clicks now, or practically no clicks. I'm gonna explain what the immediate fix is to this problem and why it happens in the first place. A lot of you guys don't run exact match keywords because you don't get enough clicks with them. So what do? You switch over to broad match keywords, or maybe phrase match, but generally broad match keywords. And then sure, the clicks come flooding in. Or maybe you turn on maximize clicks bidding strategy, which is another big no-no if you care about making an actual profit with your ad account. But there's a solution to this problem that's very, very simple that I'm gonna go over here, where you do not have to do either one of those things. So you can make more profit at the end of the day and scale the amount of profit you're gonna make with your ad account over time. I'm gonna tell you the exact formula that I use so I don't have to rely on the simple broad match solution that most people think is their only other option to get clicks. You understand how to do this for yourself. I'll also go through just how much of a difference this particular process is gonna make on your overall profitability as well. What I'm gonna do here is I'm going to go over the pros and cons of using a broad versus exact match ad strategy or keyword strategy, so you understand just what you're up against if you're going to buck the information that I'm going to give you here, which is to run exact match only keywords, or what you stand to lose going that route. The main thing with phrase and broad match keywords, and why people overwhelmingly use it instead of using exact match, is, of course, because it's quick. It does not take much time to set up 2 or 3 individual broad match keywords, or 5 or 10 even, versus a bunch of exact match keywords to get enough clicks. So first of all, people typically don't think they can get enough clicks running exact match because they only target a few terms. And they target the same amount of terms that they would typically target with broad match. They think that's good enough. The reality is, you got to target more keywords when you're targeting exact match, and I'm going to get into that in a minute. But either way, they want a simple solution. They want to spend 5 minutes setting up their campaign, and they don't want it to be complicated. Sorry, if you want to make millions of dollars with your Google Ads account, it's not going to be a 5-minute proposition. And the main reason for that is because Google has made it not so simple. They want to get you to waste your money. It was like that back in 2005 when I started. It's not like that anymore. And also, you got competition. Most of your competitors know about Google Ads, and that is if you got competitors, which you probably do. If it were taking 5 minutes to get results, somebody else would have already been doing that 5 years ago in your market already, and there would be no opportunity for you in your market just by doing that simple little work that anybody can do. The good thing is, if you outwork your competition, it's so easy to make money because most people think 5 minutes is all it's going to take. You just go ahead and put the work in. Use the system I'm telling you here, and you can make money. It works to your advantage once you understand the extra little work that other people aren't willing to do, and that's productive, because now you have a moat around your business, your account, and you can make money now. People also use broad match keywords because it's easy, of course. It goes along with quick. They don't want to spend time setting up their campaigns, but they also don't want to work hard. They don't want to think a lot. They don't want to put too much effort in. Finding 50 or 100 keywords to target an exact match is not exactly what people think is fun to do. Of course, with broad match as well, the benefits are, at least to most users, what they're going to say is, you're going to get a lot of impression. That in and itself it will do, but is it the quality of impressions that you want? And the answer to that is, no, it is not. I don't want to totally shun broad match keywords as to say there's never a use for them. There's not, but what people really get wrong is they start out with broad match keywords because they want to save time and it's easier, like I just got done mentioning. They ultimately haven't made any money yet, and then they are really stressed out about not making a profit from their ads and saying, oh shoot, am I going to have money to keep the lights on next month and keep the ad account going next month because my ads aren't working yet? When really what they should be doing is taking a step back, being a little bit more patient, doing what I'm going to talk about here in a second, how to do this properly, and then build their business up right. Start small and then scale up your results. Ultimately, they want to go right to, which is blast my account with all kinds of impressions because it's quick and it's easy. And if you go and you look at your search terms report that tells you specifically what people are typing in before clicking on your ads, it's 90+% bullshit. People typing in weird stuff, has nothing to do with what you're doing. people looking for free stuff, people looking for cheap stuff, people looking for information, people looking for your competitors' solutions, on and on and on. Broad match is not the answer, mainly because of this, but also because your competitors are using it. In order to make money with Google Ads nowadays, you got to be able to do more. Given that, I'll tell you from experience, because this is all I do all day, 20 people are going to be cycling in and out of the top ad spots in your typical market. And Google set up the system now, 20% or about 4 of them are going to be the ones making all the money. And the rest of them, they really don't care if they stay or go. And they're going to give all the best clicks to the 20%. And they're going to make sure that they get charged less for those clicks. The people that they know coming through that's most likely to convert, they're going to go to those 20%. And therefore, you're not going to make a profit unless you're in that 20%. Knowing this, you don't want to by default do what most people tell you is the way to do things. You got to think for yourself here. The people that are making money, they're not going to tell you what to do because they don't want any competition either. You got to be able to understand, first of all, what to do and then be willing to do more because that's where all the money is. Also, with broad match, there's less keywords needed, obviously. So they don't have to worry about setting up and finding 100 keywords to target. They only need 5 and they can get their budget spent with that. That said, again, the results aren't out there and your ad showing up for a bunch of stuff you don't want to actually have your ad show up for. What you do want to do instead is have hundreds, and I do mean literally hundreds of exact match keywords. You can still target a lot of individual different things in your market and still get click volume at the end of the day. With exact match keywords, yes, you get less clicks on each individual keyword. You're going to get less clicks with the same amount of effort put in to set up your campaign, but it's still worth it at the end of the day, which there is a downside, of course, also using exact match keywords and hundreds of them, like I just mentioned, of which is it's going to take longer to rack up higher ad rank / quality score, given that this is what determines how much profit you're going to make from your ads, given that a new campaign with no ad rank is going to typically not make money, at least in a competitive market, because going back to like what I was saying before, Google's going to prefer to give the best traffic to the people that are advertising a long time, that they know and are familiar with their ads, and also that they know is giving their users a great experience. So they want to click on ads in the future. That is measured through click-through rates and conversion rate. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you start out with no ad rank. If you have 5 keywords versus 100 keywords in exact match, the time it's going to take for each individual keyword to get enough click data for Google to know that each keyword should have a high quality score is going to be longer. Actually, in a lot of cases, a broad match keyword campaign would do better than an exact match keyword campaign, at least for the first month, or maybe even 2 or 3 months in some situations. However, once you get past that initial period where your campaign is starting to get a decent amount of data behind it, the exact match is going to blow the broad match out of the water 99% of the time. You should just know that going in. And for that matter, we have in the past done a hybrid strategy where we don't run broad match, but you run phrase match and an exact match campaign both. And you let phrase match keyword get results for the first 90 days while you run the exact match keyword campaign. And then the exact match keyword campaign that's been running in the background as well, eventually that is all your ad spend goes to that. And that gives you kind of the best of both worlds there, so to say. That's something else you can consider or do. Now, with exact match keywords, you got lots of time, though, in keyword research. That's a big drawback and why people ultimately, frankly, don't do it. Even though I tell people on these videos all the time, do hundreds of keywords, all in the exact match, you'll make at least 3 to 10 times as much money than you would with broad match and a few keywords. They still don't do it because doing all that keyword research to find the 500 individual unique ways that somebody searches for your product or service in your market is going to take 50 hours of proper research and time to do. They don't want to do the work, and they're going to tell themselves I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about, and then they won't do it. And they'll listen to the overwhelming majority of people out there, which are non-experts, telling them, oh, you don't have to worry about that. Just do broad match keywords, which the other ad managers who's saying broad match keywords work are telling you that because it takes less time themselves. They get to keep a higher percentage of the money that you're paying them. Google wants you to do it because it wastes way more of your money. None of these have your interest in actual mind, which is, how do I make more profit? Because they don't make more profit if you make more profit. Your interests are not aligned. You ultimately have to buck the trend. And if you think for yourself, you're going to be in that 20% that makes all the profit in your market, because you just didn't follow what everybody else did. Because if you did follow what everybody else did, you would be not in the 20% anymore. So just keep that in mind. Exact match keywords, you have higher CPCs as well. Of course, this is the other reason why people don't like to use exact match. Yes, when you target exact match keywords, your CPCs are going to be higher. Why? Because you're not going to show up for less competitive searches anymore. So when you target the keyword roofing services and broad match and exact match, your exact match keyword, it's going to show up for roofing services companies, roofing services near me, stuff like that. Because exact match nowadays, it's not really exact match like it used to be. It's close variants, as they call it. And then roofing services, though, targeted in broad match is going to make you show up for roofing grants, all this weird bullshit that Google has set up for people to do, that they're taking advantage of clueless people to make quarterly estimates and revenue go up every quarter. Doing this, by the way. They know what they're doing. You ultimately show for all this weird stuff. The weird stuff is actually less sought after by some of the more knowledgeable advertisers in your space that aren't complete doofuses when it comes to running their ads, or clueless or lazy. So they don't run broad match. Therefore, because there's less people targeting it, there's less demand for it. Supply and demand here, less demand, less cost per click that Google can charge for that traffic. Therefore, if you're just simply trying to go based on whether the click cost is cheaper, you're never going to make any money, because the worst clicks that mostly nobody wants are going to be the cheapest clicks. Of course, your cost per click is going to be higher with the exact match, potentially 2 or 3 times or 4 times higher than what they would be with your broad match campaign, or 10 times I've seen in some cases. That doesn't matter. We're not here to get a cheap click. We're here to make an ROI. So you have to completely get out of your head completely that cost per click matters whatsoever. And I see people make this mistake with manual bidding as well. They don't want to pay so much per click, so they do manual bidding, when really at the end of the day, all you're doing is optimizing for the shittiest clicks. The best clicks are the most expensive, and they're worth it because you get what you pay for, and that's the bottom line. And then, of course, with exact match keywords, you got no to little waste, being that's the reason why you do it. It's not going to be wasteful. You're only going to show up for the stuff that you want. And to compensate for low clicks, you're going to do the proper keyword research and plan that I'm giving you here, so that you don't have any downside of not enough clicks, because every possible variant of search in your market, you're still going to show up for, but you're not going to show up for any of the bad stuff. So you get all the upside with none of the downside. Before I get into this formula or method here that I use to get all the 500 or 1,000 variants of exact match terms in your market that you would want to target, so you get all the upside and none of the downside, I wanted to say, take a minute and subscribe to this channel, because I got the best information you're going to find online about how to make money with ads. And that is because I spend 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm to find out exactly what works. I document here on this channel. I also document it on my blog, on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog. Whereas on this channel, I talk about it verbally. On my blog, I document visually with screenshots, with everything else. So if you want a great secondary resource as to what I'm talking about on this channel, you should check that out as well. But certainly subscribe. You're not going to find better information from other YouTubers on here. They're really not managing any ads. They're expert content creators. They don't have time to run any ads, so therefore they don't. And I spend 80 hours a week working, so I can not only run ads, but talk about it as well. It's the best information you're going to find, so subscribe. Furthermore, if you want to communicate with me, I answer questions. All you got to do is leave me in the comment section, and I get back to every single person who does that. You can also reach out to me, though, by the way. Also reaching out to me through my Discord. You can find the Discord link in the Discord group in the video description, as well as you can reach out to me through my site at guaranteedppc.com to set up a coaching or consulting call with me if you need that. Also, if you want a proposal as to how I can guarantee you more profit on your ad campaigns on Google, Facebook, wherever you're running ads online, I can provide you that. I can get you an 8-quarter projection of the results I can get with the strategies we would use to get those results, and a bona fide guarantee of increase in profitability before there's any management fee at all. So if you'd like that, reach out to me at my firm at guaranteedppc.com. And also, before I get back into what I was ready to cover here, if you also, by the way, are in a market that I've been in already, I could actually sell you the winning ads and landing pages that work for your market. You could copy paste those into your ad account and get the same results we did, with none of the work that we had to go through and none of the money that we had to spend to figure out how to get to the best results in your market. in another city or country that you're actually physically located in or targeting. And it's absolutely smart to just buy the template instead of starting from scratch, because you're going to spend way more than what we had to spend to figure out the same thing. We've worked in hundreds of niche markets before, so the chances are quite high we've got the results you're looking for, and I can tell you the results you're going to get with it up front. If you're interested in a template, let me know as well. Here is the formula that you want to do and use so that you can actually only target your keywords in exact match. So you don't have to target all the waste and still get the amount of clicks that you want at the end of the day without having to target just the broad match or even phrase match keywords, which phrase match we do run still in some markets, especially local service markets. We're not running phrase match at all anymore because you're going to show up for a bunch of competitor searches, so on and so forth, and it just is not profitable anymore. Or way, way, way less profitable. It's just to the point where, keep it simple, you're not going to make money without just running exact match nowadays. Here's the process. Step 1 is to use a SpyFu, or you could use SEMrush if you'd like, to find out all the keywords that your competitors are running. Not to say all of them are profitable. What you're using it for is as a seed or a seed idea to know what type of keywords you should be targeting, because it's not inherently obvious when you're a roofer and you're trying to target the 500 ways that people search for a roof, which is actually more than that, what they are. So you start writing those down onto a spreadsheet. Then you go to Google Keyword Planner and you start typing those babies into the Google Keyword Planner and get even more ideas. And you're still showing up for absolutely everything in your market you should show up for. Then step 3 would be to use a permutation tool. You take all the data that you've now pulled out of Google Keyword Planner and permutation checker. And what you're going to do is you're going to take all the keywords you found from Google Keyword Planner, you're going to put them in there, and it'll tell you all the permutations of those words. And as a part of doing this, you're going to have to separate out the terms as well. For instance, if you have 2 keywords, best roofing service, you have roofing service, roofing company, or roofing companies. Those, let's say we found these 3 keywords in Google Keyword Planner, right? What you're going to do is you're going to put into the permutation tool into a list, roofing service, roofing company, and then best. What that's going to do is it's going to give you then and spit back out every permutation of the terms that are there. So it's going to be best roofing companies along with 3 keywords there, and made a 4th one out of the original 3 keyword ideas that you got of Google Keyword Planner. So what you're doing is essentially taking all the suffixes and prefixes that you find out of the tool, and then it's going to combine them all. If you find also top roofing service, it's going to take the word top and put it in front of top roofing companies, so on and so forth. What you're really looking to do is mix and match every permutation of those keywords that you found. So it's top roofing service, top roofing company near me, so on and so on and so forth. What you're really doing is you're getting the ideas out of the keyword planner so you can find all the permutation of all the keywords that are actually out there. This is how you target exact match keywords correctly and get really all possible variants in your market. And of course, if you're going to do things right for yourself, you want to take what you got and you want to do single keyword ad group campaigns. That's another thing that people out there are going to say, don't do. But if you do what everybody else does, you're not going to be in the 20%. You can do what everybody else does, but this isn't like the yellow pages where you're in there and you're done. In which, in fact, it's a terrible analogy, because back in the day with yellow pages, the smart people knew that most people are going to call the first person. So they would name their company like a towing service, because it would be first in the list then. And they would change their whole company name just for that one thing. But you've got the results are the 20% always, regardless of what you're talking about. So how are you going to have your edge? You got to come up with your edge in one way or another. And usually that edge is not going to be by spending more money. You're just going to end up going further in the hole then. You got to have the foundation right. Anyway, so once you got all your keyword permutations, you're going to go back to Google Keyword Planner again and put them all in there, and then see if any new keywords are spit out. And then if there are new ones spit out, you're going to go back to the permutation tool and put the new suffixes and prefixes that you found in there, and then go back to Google Keyword Planner and do it again. And you do this again and again and again until you've literally exhausted Google Keyword Planner for every possible keyword that's in their system. It's unfortunate you have to do this to get all the data, but this is how it is. And for that matter, by the way, I believe Google's neutered the amount of keyword data that they're giving you, because they want you to run broad match, and because broad match wastes your money, and they're not going to make their quarterly revenue estimates that know that they have to have that's higher than the previous quarters without getting you to waste more money every quarter. This is what they've resulted to. And pretty much all their updates is related to taking people that are clueless, that they can take advantage of easily, getting them to spend more money. And that comes through running your keywords broader. Stuff like AI Max, which is another way to run broad match that sounds like AI. Woo! And now they just waste your money. See if you're dumb enough to fall for it. No offense to anybody watching this, but this is the reality. But that's how you do it. And then when you got all that done, you go to run a test campaign on Google search. Because a lot of you guys, also so-called critics, would tell me, hey, what's the point? Because A, Google's not going to let you bid on all those keywords. It's going to say search volume too low. Number two, ultimately, it's going to spread out your data so much across all your keywords that it's going to take forever to get a quality score. So why don't you just run with less? And you're not going to get a high quality score on those keywords. So therefore, why don't you do less keywords and broad match? You set up the test campaign to know which keyword you can run. You do all the crazy work that I mentioned beforehand to find the 1,000 different ways that someone searches for a roofing company, so that when you put it into your test campaign, you find the 300 that you actually want to use. Or should I say, your initial list is like 5,000. You set up your test campaign, Google says you can run 750. And then those are the 750 you actually go with. Because on the other 4,250 keywords, they said search volume too low in the keyword status column, which says essentially Google's not going to let you bid on those keywords because people don't search them enough. But there's 750 left, and that 750 is all you needed. Those were all the ones that they were going to let you bid on, and that you want to now set up unique ads and landing pages for, because those are the ways that people search. And then because you've got them all now, you don't need broad match no more. And of course, yeah, you have 750 keywords. You running 5 keywords in broad match, you're going to get higher quality scores quicker. But I promise you, once my keywords start getting traction and Google sees how good our click-through rates and conversion rates are, because we're targeting the exact terms that we need and have laser-targeted handwritten ad copy for each keyword, and each landing page has handwritten headlines for each keyword, it's game over. I'm going to win every single freaking time. If you disagree with me, I'll bet you $10,000. I'm serious. I've said this many, many times in my videos before, and I've got people, they like to mention in the comments, hey, single keyword ad groups are outdated, whatever. And I've said, okay, let's do a bet right now. Let's set up 2 campaigns. Let's see who gets a higher click-through rate. Loser has to pay $10,000 to the other one. Nobody is saying they want to do that. Because deep down inside, at the end of the day, all people do is they just regurgitate what other people say. They don't actually run their own tests. I don't want to sound like a prick here, and I may, but you have to run your own tests. Run it for yourself, then come back and say, hey, it doesn't work. And for that matter, I love the fact that people say it doesn't work, because that means it's going to keep working forever. And I shouldn't be saying this because it gives me an edge. On all our clients' accounts, we have an edge. I know most people won't do it, and I'm also trying to get back here, also trying to build a channel. And I'm telling you the working stuff here. This channel is based upon what works, not what sounds nice, what makes you feel good inside about how this stuff should work, that is cheap and easy to do and everybody can do it. The people that are going to do it right and do it all the way are going to make most of the money, and that's how it's going to be. It's only going to get worse in the future because there's more and more people piling into it all the time. This is how it is. Anyway, that is everything I wanted to cover here. Hopefully this makes sense. You don't have to settle for low clicks just going for exact match. You just got to use the system that works. It's a bunch of work. The other day, you'll have to do it once, and then you're going to make your millions for years after it. Literally. Go ahead and just do it already. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. If you want to see another video, click here. It is one of my best ones.